Good morning, everybody. Glad to see you. I apologize. We have Kitty may be intrusive today in the show. Her allergies are acting up. You can see she's got gunky eyes, and I I have the worst luck with animals. I really do. My cat had severe allergy. She gets what we call joker mouth, where she gets little sores on the sides of her mouth when her allergies act up, and I got to take her down for allergy shots. But when she gets to feeling bad, um, she gets very clingy. So yeah, I may be shooing her on and off today. So please be patient with Dolly Parton. She's just not really feeling all that great today. She may dive in. Well, look, we got a really interesting show for you today. It's going to be a bit of a discussion on our part. We're going to talk back and forth. I'm going to start with something really, really, really stupid from my youth. Please hang with me through that. Please get through it. So without further ado, let's dive in. All right, folks, let's do this. It's not every day that somebody starts a show with, yes, I am a cat person. Yes, I am. I love my cat very much. And yes, it's insane. I've got a cat with severe allergies who has to get allergy shots about every other year. It gets bad enough that we got to take her down for an allergy shot. It gets so bad that actually, if I were to take and lift up the sides of her, you'd see she gets little sores in the corners of her mouth from her allergies, and little eye boogers get bad, and it's bad. It's bad. But we're going to take care of that this afternoon, and Dolly Parton will be fine. Kitty will be fine. But it's not every day somebody opens up a show with, hey, guess what? I was an idiot when I was young. But yeah, that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with that. The nicest people in the world. I get people tell me this all the time. Paul, I see you get angry, and you do the cuss and pond content, and you do all that. But I get to know you. You're the nicest guy in the world, man. You back people up. You get people's back. You stick. Yeah, I'm patting myself on the back right now. I know that. I'm sorry. Thanks for the support, Lori. I really appreciate you. Big donation right out of the gate. Appreciate you. Yeah, I got a graph for this, Sharon. We way ahead of us already, man. The inflation's down to 2.9%. That means rate cuts are coming, but that's good. I got a graph for that later. But yeah, the nicest people, like, give me an example. I've never served, but I have immense respect for the military, and I have a lot of friends who are combat veterans. I don't mean, and I'm not denigrating anybody's service at all, because for every one person you put in the field, it takes like 10 people behind them to get them into the field. To have an effective military, your logistics people, everything, are some of the most critical people in the military, period. But when you want to talk about what people think of when they think about the military, you talk about somebody that is, a legitimate badass. Okay. These are people, they don't have a lot of bravado. They don't. They've been through some shit. They don't talk shit. They're humble people. They're quiet people. The toughest people you will ever meet in your life are the nicest people you will ever meet in your life. George Foreman, perfect example. Perfect example. Outside the ring, he is the nicest, sweetest person in the world. Inside the ring, he will knock your head off. That's just the way it is. The most humble people, the nicest people, the most understanding people are people that have gone through crap. Yeah, there are some people that are just born nice. There are some people that are born. That wasn't me. When I was young, I was an asshole. I had a bad temper. I did. I did. I had to learn the hard way the value of watching every dime, being frugal. I had to learn the hard way the value of understanding people are going through shit, because I had to go through shit myself. I did. And where I'm going with this is there's a lot of people right now talking about the Elon Trump, and I'm going somewhere with this, so stick with me. Thank you for the support, Roland. I really appreciate you. I really do. There's a lot of people that are talking about the interview, Elon Musk interviewing Donald Trump. And one of the biggest things that's going around on social media is they are attacking Donald Trump's lisp. Folks, if that's what you're wanting today, you're in the wrong place. There is so much to attack Donald Trump on because he is a lousy human being. And he said some things that are really important in that interview, that it's really important to discuss. Horrible things. But I am not going to sit here and I am not going to attack him on his lisp. I'm not. And I will tell you why. If you listen to my videos, every once in a while, you will hear I have a slight lisp. I do, especially when my mouth gets dry. I don't have a cleft palate or anything like that. This goes back to where I was starting with me being an idiot when I was young. When I was young, I used to have this mental defect. Somehow I got in my head that I thought the ability to take pain and absorb pain and live with pain forgive me. Forgive me. A little bit of a dry throat there. For some reason, that was a good thing. That meant you were tough. And believe me, I've got the scars on my eyes. My mouth droops to one side a little bit for doing stupid shit, throwing hands, all kinds of things. But when I was young, in my early 20s, just this stupid warped view I had of what was tough and what was, right, smart. Well, my early 20s, I had a tooth go bad. And because I was a tough guy, I didn't take care of it. I just dealt with a toothache. And that's stupid. Never do that. Never do that. Infections can spread. It can kill you. It can spread into your brain. It can literally kill you. But me being a young guy, I'm a tough guy. Being a tough guy, I didn't do it. I didn't do that. I just let it get bad and I let it get worse, and the infection spread. And it got to the point where I said, well, I got to do something about this. And doing something about this wasn't going to the dentist. No. I took a pair of these and I ripped 3 teeth out of my head. Yeah, I was that freaking stupid when I was a kid. And I never really did anything about it, so I'm missing some teeth up here on the top side of my head. And because I never did anything about it, as you were older and you experienced intelligent people, understand what bone loss is. When you have a gap in your teeth, you miss teeth, and I have bone loss here. And after the election is over, I'm about to go have some surgery where I'm going to have a bone implants put in here, and then I'm going to have implants installed after the election, and I will no longer have that sneaky little lisp that sneaks out. Yeah, don't be stupid, people. Don't be stupid. But it also gives me empathy. It does. And I know a lot of older folks. And if you go back and look at my social media, when we were talking about Nancy Pelosi, I kept saying Nancy Pelosi is not old. She does not need to be replaced because she's old. Her mind is there. She is having serious style issues. Her dentures aren't fitting. She's sucking on her dentures in interviews. It's a stylistic thing. Stop calling her old. All right. Exactly, Rich. You grow. Exactly. And that's the point of what I'm saying. People that have been through shit tend to be the nicest, most understanding people in the world. So no, I'm not going to attack Trump. Now, I will attack him for sounding like he was drunk, but not because he was lisping. I'm not going to do it. I'd defend Joe Biden to this day because he has a stutter. Things happen. Now, you're a piece of garbage. I'm going to go after you. I am. And that's what I'm going to go after him today. Believe me, he said some crap in that interview that we need to talk about. But folks, I'm just going to say we're better people. We are not the same. We are better people. Stop attacking him on his lisp. Just his dentures were out. It was obvious what was going on, why he was lisping, and just let it go. Just let it go. But let's talk about what really is there. First of all, he and his campaign were screaming to everybody, look how smart I am. I'm going to do this interview unscripted. Really? Then why did you put this picture out? I'm telling you, the Trump campaign is the worst campaign I have ever seen. In one breath, they're talking about, oh my God, our Donald Trump is so smart. He has the biggest, best brain. He's going to do this entire interview with this other person who's supposed to be really smart, who's turning out to be a frickin' moron, Elon Musk. He's going to do it unscripted. Oh, okay. Then why the hell is there a script in your own pictures, in your own video releases of him sitting there reading off a script? These are the type of unforced errors that I am telling you, I am loving it. I am absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving just how lousy this campaign is. And the fact that we have more people like myself out there willing to call this stuff out, they are not getting away with it. I mean, the corporate media absolutely would. And we've got to discuss something that's going on with the corporate media today that is just disgusting. It is literally just disgusting. Kitty's not the only one with allergies today. But yeah, but before we get into that in depth, we got to talk about the log cabin Republicans. And believe me, we're going somewhere with this, so stick with us. Cloud Dancer, thanks for the support, my man. Appreciate you. So yeah, let's talk about the log cabin Republicans, and we are going somewhere with this. And it is not to beat up the log cabin Republicans. If you don't know who the log cabin Republicans are, the log cabin Republicans are gay Republicans. They are a caucus of all gay Republicans. They have taken a lot of criticism over the years because being a log cabin Republican is a lot like being in SEALs for polar bears. It's a lot like being in gazelles for lions. But every time you criticize them for what they do, they attack you. They're going to call me a bigot today for saying this, and you will be able to see nothing I say is bigoted. Yeah, exactly. Slugs for salt. Exactly. Exactly. And that is the point of what I'm making here today. Nobody gives a damn if logs. This is a new day, people. It is wonderful. Has everybody turned the corner? No, there's still bigots out there. But as a nation, have we turned the corner? Absolutely. Nobody is offended by the fact that you're gay, except for a bigoted minority. And that is it. Jimmy O, I'm proud to be a member of the IUPTA Painters of Minnesota, pissed at Trump and Elon for their laughing. We are getting them, brother. Y'all are always so far ahead. Thank you for the support, by the way. This is literally where I'm going with this. And this is why I'm talking about the log cabin Republicans. The criticism is that I heartily throw at the log cabin Republicans is you are supporting a group of people who want to destroy you. You are financially supporting them. You are supporting them politically. You're supporting them emotionally. You're supporting them democratically. You're voting for them. You are voting for people who literally have a platform of attacking who you are and go out in front of cameras, not hide it, not backroom conversations, not what they talk about over dinner, what they talk about directly up front in your face as their policy is that you need to stop existing. And if you do exist, you need to go get some religious therapy to put you back into a box in which you do not belong. You need to A, get in the closet and quit talking, quit letting us know you exist, or B, pretend to be something you're not, and that is who you support, and that is insane. That is insane. I will never call you out for doing. I will never not call you out for doing that, ever, because there are people out there that are like me that are allies with the LGBTQ plus community. My family has members of the LGBTQ plus society in it. I want a good life for them. I want them to be able to just live their lives. And let me tell you, that story I started with my idiocy as a young man is what brought me here today. Everybody does better when everybody does better. Stop pissing in each other's soup just for being the people that we are. Thank you. You folks, y'all just do the show without me, man. Y'all just do, because this is literally where I was going. Stockholm Syndrome. Thank you, Barbara. I appreciate you. If you don't know what Stockholm Syndrome it is, it's like Patty Hearst when she became supportive of her kidnappers, her captors. It is literally what the log cabins Republicans are. Why am I railing about them and the LGBTQ plus community? Because we have another perfect example of that behavior. And it is the Teamsters. Not your rank and file Teamsters. It's Sean O'Brien, the head of the Teamsters. You folks know me. You folks that know me know that I am super pro-labor. And I am super pro, again, because of the life I have lived and what I have seen. Texas is a right to broke state. Texas is a right to broke state. union busting. That's what this state is all about. The Republicans. And by the way, folks, yesterday we celebrated the 50th anniversary of women being able to get credit cards without their husbands signing off on them. Yeah, can you believe it's only been 50 years? And half of that time, Republicans have run my state. So yeah, when I talk about supporting unions, I'm talking about as a young man, I have worked jobs that should have been organized. You know, I was a mechanic as a young man. I was a welder as a young. I love working with steel people. God, I love working with steel. I used to build ornamental fencing and gates. I can make beautiful things out of steel. That is my end goal. That is my retirement dream, is to have a big enough shop out back that I can have both a woodworking section and a steel fabrication section and the tools in it that I can just sit in my leather smock and just make beautiful things all day long. That is my long white haired dream. That's where I want to go in my life. That's it. That's my touchdown. So yeah, I've worked jobs before that have been unorganized, that are not union, and I understand. I look at unions and I know their value. I do. A lot of people here in Texas are ignorant about unions. Glad to see you here. Glad to see Texas in the house, Patty Girl. Thank you for the support. Texas in so many ways. All right, my guy, another welder in the house. Steve, my man. I knew I liked you, Steve. I knew I liked you. I'm an old stick welder from way back, man. You know, wind blows too much in the field for gas, brother. It's us. Anyways, sorry, folks. Didn't mean to get off on this. Me and Steve having a private conversation. But look, where I'm going with this is really simple. I am very, very pro union. I am. You know, you get folks here in Texas that are ignorant of unions that will talk about stupid things from like back in the 70s. You had businesses that ran their businesses into the ground. You know, the big three, they ignored what the American people wanted. They got caught flat-footed. They lost huge market share to the Japanese. And then you had the unions that were intransigent back in the 1970s. We're talking over half a century ago, people. These unions were intransigent. They refused to take a haircut when the companies were failing because it was management that was failing, not the workers. And it caused a problem, and it caused a massive decline in union membership, and unions took a black eye. And then you had Ronald Reagan in the 80s, who couldn't say enough bad things about unions. And you ended up with a lot of middle-aged white guys today that don't know shit about unions, that talk bad about them, that don't understand how valuable they are, and that unions today are not the same unions that you had back in the 70s. Unions today are very much, when the company does well, we stand up for workers and say, okay, hey, we're doing well. The workers will do well also. But they also, unions understand, hey, this is a challenging time. Everybody's doing the best they can in this company, and we are suffering. You're taking a haircut, management, we're taking a haircut. And they over and over again, you have seen modern unions vote to take pay cuts when the company was struggling. But then they turn around and they fight for their workers. When things get back on track, they fight for their workers to get their payback. Unions are a good thing. They're very stabilizing. You know, in major industries, unions are a very good thing. So to hear me, where I'm going with this, rail against a union, you know something's got to be really wrong there. Something's got to be really wrong. All right. Don the Con may be faking dementia to stay out of prison like a monster tried to bag. Yeah, Vinny the Chin. Yeah. Yeah. I get you, man. Thank you for the support, brother. Caroline. Thank you, honey. Got me a fresh cup of coffee. So where I'm going with this is Sean O'Brien. Not all unions are the same. Not all union leadership is the same. There are really fantastic unions out there. There are unions that are very, 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 very good at seeing the big picture, very good at talking to you. You know, it's like me when I talk to you about oil companies. You know, people are like, Paul, how can you tell us not to attack the oil companies? I'm like, because they're giving you a product that you want. And the oil companies are out to make a profit. That's what they do. Stop looking at it like it's like some big nefarious thing, because that muddies the waters and confuses things. Regulate them. Make sure that they're clean. But you like paint on that car? You like the plastics in your house? Because I guarantee you there's nothing, if you look around right now, there's nothing that you see in your home that there isn't a feedstock that comes out of an oil refinery that didn't help either A, manufacture it, or B, is part of it. So yeah, I'm like, okay, let's be realistic. Let's tell people the way things are. And people seem to appreciate that. There are problems. And I call out oil companies when they're shitty and nefarious. I do. But for the most part, you know, yeah, exactly. Uncle Russ, exactly. Shingles, road surfaces, all kinds of stuff. When we have real conversations about things, man, we can do real things. We can get real things done, man. And that's exactly what I try to do here. And as a community, we seem to be doing really good. There's destroyed my body when I was young. As I have aged, this quote has haunted me. Young men and fools wear their pain like a badge of honor. Amen, brother. I feel that stupidity. I feel that stupidity like you wouldn't believe. Like you wouldn't believe. I have got bad knees, and from lifting way too damn much. I broke my back once. I mean, I could feel that. But the point I'm making, I don't want to get off on a tangent about oil companies. I'm sorry about that. The point is, call things out the way they are. And when I'm talking about labor unions today, I'm going to tell you, there are some labor unions that really are good. They are about the workers. They are about the people. Rick Davis, exactly. O'Brien is a company man. And if you know anything about labor, that is not a compliment. That is not a compliment. That means he's more worried about the company than he is about the workers. And that is exactly what I'm here to talk to you about. I am going to rebrand the Teamsters. Sean O'Brien is the head of the Teamsters Union, and he has come out in support of Donald Trump. They made donations to Trump. He spoke at the Republican convention, of all things. And I've got to tell you that this whole tough guy, man of the people act is crap. As somebody that has worked on job sites, I see Sean O'Brien. I know exactly what he is. The Devil of Dallas says, if we had a medium income growth versus rent inflation like the 80s and 90s, it would be easy to distrust unions. It's 2024. We need unions. Exactly. When the Republicans get their way, it creates this whole bullshit trickle down thing where the workers keep getting more and more efficient and getting less and less pay. That is what the Republicans have wrought upon us. And that is why I say we need to destroy the Republican Party. Destroy it. Ask our friends in the audience from Europe about happiness, success. Every way you measure happiness, our European allies are happier people than we are because they have a mix of capitalism and socialism. It's not like we have here where we have this nonsense that they constantly sell out like Sean O'Brien. And I'm going to call the union, I'm going to call the Teamsters out. I'm going to call the rank and file Teamsters out. I'm going to rebrand you from the Teamsters to the LCLU. I'm going to call the Teamsters the LCLU from now on until you get rid of this jackass, because the Teamsters have a real elitist problem. You know, Sean O'Brien tries to put pictures out like this, but anybody that's worked it, you can look at this picture and know exactly what he is. He's an elitist. He's not a man for the workers. He isn't. And for those of you that don't know who the Teamsters are a trucking union and jobs that support the trucking industry union. You know the old saying, if you bought it, a truck brought it. Yeah. Sean O'Brien is a man without imagination. He is a company man. He is a company man. And I will call you the log cabin labor union until you do something about him. See, the Teamsters are facing an interesting problem. I am not understanding, okay? I understand challenges. That's the whole point of what we've talked about to get here. I understand challenges. And the Teamsters are facing, because they are at its core a trucking union, are facing a really difficult problem organizing. But they're not attacking the problem. And the problem they're facing is, Mr. Knutson, here you go, my man. I owe my happiness to unions who pressure our politicians to work for the people, not the rich and special interests. Best wishes from Norway. I'm telling you, talk to the folks in our European audience. They understand what organized labor will do for you. God, I love you people. I love you people so much. I mean, I can't tell you how many times when I've got a point that I'm about to make, you're making the point over there in the chat. Truckers have been programmed by AM radio and NPCs at this point. Yes, the Teamsters are facing a recruitment problem. Truckers are some of the most hardcore right-wing people you've ever met. Some of the most delusional people you've ever met. They are. They have been sitting in their trucks marinating. You know, I talk about Democrats and how we failed. You know, we tried to stay high road. Talk radio was gutter. Talk radio was gutter. It was down in the gutter fighting. We ceded talk radio to the right because of our high and mighty morals about not wanting to be personal and the personal attacks. We were going to be better. And we let the right have talk radio. Well, guess what? Construction workers, truckers, everybody that sits in their trucks all day long, they didn't listen to music all day. That's boring. Listen to the same songs over and over and over again? No. They listen to talk radio. They listen to news. And they got their heads filled with Rush Limbaugh. God, there you go, man. I'm telling you, people are always right there. Yeah, they got their heads filled. Rush Limbaugh was a huge one. I'm telling you guys, back when I used to, decades ago, when I used to drive a dump truck or a belly dump or whatever, those guys sat in there. You would get into a truck and every station would be programmed to right-wing talk radio. And they would marinate on that all day long. So you have old truckers that are just out of touch with reality. They have been completely and utterly detached from reality by right-wing radio. They have. I mean, you're talking about Pizzagate crazy. And I understand the Teamsters are a truckers union and they're having a hard time recruiting. But you do not get in bed with the union busters. That is not the answer to fixing that problem. That's laziness. That is laziness. That is trying to go to the truckers and say, oh, look, we're right-wing too. We're like you. Join our union. That gets you no one in the union. And this is why. This is why. God bless the UAW. God bless. I'm telling you, the head of the UAW is just a real man of the workers. He is. SMFH, I have a coworker whose husband is a trucker. She told me the reason they voted for Trump was to keep their guns. Yeah. You know, we had an assault weapons ban. You know how many guns got confiscated? 0. Not a one. And that was during the assault weapons ban. 0. I'm telling you, your average trucker out there, non-union trucker, is out of his damn mind when it comes to politics. They are. This is this is what Sean O'Brien endorsed. This is a commercial from the UAW. It is brilliant. Use their own words. Use their own words. That's Elon Musk laughing it up with Donald Trump talking about how there is no video. Here, I'll find another one. Sometimes the streaming platform has a problem. Let me make sure that we get it. One second. We'll do it again. All right. Can you see it? Can you see it now? Y'all can see it up there. It's not running, but it's up. I'm screen sharing it. Can you see it? All right. Let's do this.
I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike and you say, that's okay. You're all gone. You're all gone. So every one of you is gone.
Yeah. That is perfect. That is perfect. That is how you do it. That is Donald Trump bragging with Elon Musk about what Elon Musk did when he came to Twitter, fired everybody, talking about union busting. And that is what Sean O'Brien is endorsing. Well, right now, Sean O'Brien is backpedaling as fast as he can because rank and file Teamster is watching the guy that they tried to, suck up to, is talking about union busting in an interview with Elon Musk, laughing about it. And I'm telling you, that is perfect. That is perfect. Use their own words. Use their own words. That is the best ad you can make because it's not an allegation. It's not an allegation. Use their own words, period. This is Sean Fain, the head of the UAW. He gets it. He absolutely gets it. And this is what I'm telling you. I am very, very, very pro-union. Yeah, guys, I know every once in a while there's going to be some lag. There just is. This is Texas. We haven't recovered from the last hurricane. I'm on a 4G freaking network. They can't even get the 5G network back up here. This is what Republicans get you. This is what Republicans get you. There's just going to be some lag every once in a while, and I'm sorry about that. Y'all know how long ago it was since we had the last hurricane? They still haven't got the cell networks back up here in Texas. Thanks for the support, Lloyd. I appreciate it. Harris Walls fighting for the working people. Amen. Amen. And this is Sean Fain. He's the head of the UAW. Feel the difference between him and Sean O'Brien. Hawaiian bound. My voter registration was suspended in Texas, even though my driver's license was updated after, moved counties. Check your status. Amen. Ken Walleye Paxton is bragging about suspending people's voter registration. He's bragging about it. Check your registration, folks. We're 83 days out from the election now, I believe. Somebody double check that. 83 days out from the election. That means in most states, you have 53 days to get your paperwork in order. Don't wait. Do it now. Do it now. Michael Thomas, thanks for the support. Hey, Trumps, you are all fired. Amen, brother. Amen. Margaret, thank you for the support. I truly appreciate it. You allow me to do this full time. But let's talk about Sean Fain. He's the head of the UAW. He gets it. This is him on MSNBC.
Pretty much everything. This election's about, working class people. And you go back to our big three fight, 75% of Americans supported us in that fight. And there's a reason why. Union or not, we're all fighting the same thing. Workers have been left behind for decades in this country, and it's due to policies that Trump's America pushes. It's tax breaks, Trump's tax cuts for the wealthy. 80% of the benefit went to the top 1%. And so this election is about, you have one candidate in Trump who represents the billionaire class. I call him the lapdog for the billionaires. And you have a candidate in Kamala Harris who stands for working class people, and she's shown it through her actions. And so that's what this is about. It's about working class people taking their lives back. Nothing could be more important than that. Pretty much everything.
That's my guy. That is a union leader right there. That is somebody who gets it. That is somebody that understands, that absolutely understands. He is not a log cabin labor leader. He is not. I will forever, until the Teamsters get rid of Sean O'Brien, I will refer them to the LCLU, the Log Cabin Labor Union, because they are exactly like the log cabin Republicans. You're out there, you're sitting there letting your leadership, and I have to tell you, it's not all the leadership. The vice president of the Teamsters came out and excoriated his boss. And you've got Sean O'Brien backpedaling hard. He called the statements from Donald Trump economic terrorism. Too little, too late, brother. You were speaking at the RNC. You were talking about Trump being a tough guy. You ran your mouth. You need to resign. You need to resign. You're not a tough guy. You're not you are not for the brothers that you represent. You are not. You got to go. You got to go. There is no way to put that shit back in the horse. And you can whine about how you need to work to try to get right-wing truck drivers to organize, but that ain't how you do it. You want to get right-wing truck drivers to organize? I got an idea. Sponsor some left-wing radio programs. Elevate the left-wing voice that speaks on your behalf. Beat the shit out of Republicans until they come around to your point of view. That's how you do it. That's what the UAW does. We Democrats understand. We get it. You stay with the one that brung you. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. What happens if they attack your registration right before the election? It takes time. One, there's a deadline for them to file those challenges because they can't do anything about it before the election. But to answer your question, if you get down, you're registered to vote, you check your registration, you get to your polling place, and they tell you can't vote because you're not registered, demand a provisional ballot. Demand a provisional ballot. vote anyways on a provisional ballot, and then leave your polling place and you go down to your registrar's office and you tell them what happened and you it's called curing your ballot. If somebody challenges your registration and your registration is legit, you can take your provisional ballot and have it moved to a regular ballot. You can do that in every state of the union. They can't take your vote away. They may make it harder for you, but do not let them steal your democracy. Don't do it. You force them to give you a provisional ballot. If they say they have no provisional ballots, you'll tell them, I'll wait. Go get me one. That's your job. That's what you do. Go get me a provisional ballot. You don't let them take your vote away. And I have had to, and as long as we're answering those questions, let me answer this question. I get people that tell me, okay, you're telling me I have to vote. I'm in a blood red state. I have to vote this, that, and the other. Why? Why? What does it matter? What does it mean? Let me tell you something. Your state ain't as red as you think it is. You think it's red because you don't vote. If you and everybody like you would take your ass to the polls, you would see there are no blood red states. None whatsoever. There's not a state in this union where you can't go subject to subject to subject to subject and talk to someone, and they are actually literally more Democrat than they are Republican. They may have a hang-up or two. When you go item, and say, how do you feel about this? 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 Take bullshit politics out of it. We are all way more Democrat than we are Republican. Every freaking state in the union. Vote. It matters. It matters. Ken Applegate, my guy, just for teaching me that the words excoriating exists. What you do. Hey, I love that you let me do this, my guy. I love that you let me do this for a living. These type of elections right here, shark attack. Catherine Colbert for Texas Railroad Commissioner. She wants to fight against the current policy of rubber stamping oil and gas corporations' agenda. There are in your government. Texas isn't the only one that has these screwed up ways of doing things. You know who regulates the oil and gas and energy industries here in the state of Texas? It's the Railroad Commission. And 99% of the people out there don't know that. It's three monkeys, three idiots that have been rubber stamping the industry for years because that industry pours huge buku bucks into getting Republicans to dominate the railroad industry. Vote Democrat all the way down the ballot. That is the safest way to make sure that you don't get Republicans rubber stamping what corporations want. And let me tell you something. Don't rely on the corporate media. Just don't. Go with what you know is right and wrong. Thanks for the support, Donnie. I appreciate you. Thank you, my friend. Go with what you know is right, because let me tell you something. The right is full of bullshit. It's just made up crap. Last thing I want to talk about this interview is it was a technical disaster. It was another, Elon Musk. I'm sorry. That guy, my personal opinion is he's a freaking idiot. This guy is never taking us to Mars. And if you get a damn brain implant put in your head made by this guy, you need to have your brain examined. Nothing he does ever really works the way he claims it's going to work. It just doesn't. And just like the Trump campaign claimed they were hacked, and I told you why I didn't believe it. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that because more has come out and more red flags. Elon Musk said, oh, well, they tried to attack me and Trump and not let us tell us what we wanted. And there was a DDoS attack. And that's why we were really late starting our interview, because those evil people on the left didn't want us. They're afraid. They're really afraid. And they hacked us. They hacked us. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Everybody that is actually part of that industry is coming out and saying bullshit. And this is why. Marcia Sands says, will all the maggots put in place refuse to certify? Several of them are going to try, but you have to vote in such overwhelming numbers that they can't. You've got to remember, it doesn't matter what they say. It matters what you can. Elections are documented. It matters what you can prove. It matters what you can prove. And just like Elon Musk claiming it was a DDoS attack, folks, what the experts are coming out and saying, and again, I'm no cybersecurity expert. I just listen to people that know what the hell they're doing. And every one of them are saying, no. The reason X crashed is because he fired everybody and they couldn't handle what they were trying to do with the staff that they have on hand. If there had been a DDoS attack large enough to take a platform like that down, you would have seen massive usages of bandwidth. Remember, a DDoS attack is basically just storming an IP address so that data gets clogged up in the mix, basically. Just layman's term, Cliff Notes. It's more technical than that, but you have to have massive amounts of bandwidth filing into one tiny little bottleneck for a DDoS attack to be successful. That didn't happen. There are people out there that measure traffic on the web. That did not happen. Again, it's just made up crap. And along with the made up crap, the Trump campaign spent days out there, and the corporate media was more than happy to repeat it, that, oh, guess what? The Trump campaign was hacked. And I told you, red flags, red flags, red flags, red flags. They were not hacked. Then they said, oh, well, look at the Microsoft report. And I looked at the Microsoft report and I told you what was in it. And I said, oh, look, it is not. Nothing in this report says they were hacked. Said there was a hacking attempt on both the Trump campaign and the Democrats, and they were not successful. And I told you, I've got a conspiracy theory about this. And I don't like conspiracy theories, but you got to go with your gut feeling. You just got to go with your gut feeling. You do. And everything told me this was a political op. Everything. Robert from AOL and all the nonsense, the stupid stuff that was coming out of the Trump campaign, and the stuff that the media, the corporate media, was going with, just told me this reeked of a political op. Well, guess who? Remember, the story was an advisor, a former advisor to the Trump campaign that was no longer a part of the Trump campaign, was hacked. And it was his email address that was being used for the spear phishing. Guess who the advisor was? Guess who the advisor was? Yeah, I love you, Steve. Yep. This douchebag. That's right. That's right. Roger Stone. And what is Roger Stone known for? Dirty bullshit political attacks. So I have I have an even more solid belief in this conspiracy theory of mine. I believe it even more now. I do. Because everybody's coming out and they're confirming that it was both the Harris campaign and the Trump campaign that were attacked, and nobody is saying that they were successfully hacked. But the Trump campaign is claiming that information was stolen. And I told you I had a conspiracy theory about that this was information they wanted to get out there. And this was a way to get it out there. Well, I've got another twist on that today. I actually think, and again, this is a conspiracy theory. This is something that I don't have hard evidence for, except for looking back at history. When have we seen someone attack both the Democrats and the Republicans in a hacking attack? When have we seen that? We saw that in 2016. And what happened in 2016? Well, apparently both sides got hacked, but the information only got released from the Democrats, not the Republicans. So what are we? Oh, God, I love you people so much. Mary P. Mary P. Look what I've got right here, Mary P. That's right. John Podesta. Back in 2016, the DNC and the RNC were supposedly hacked, but the RNC's information never got released. Nothing damaging out of the RNC. But the media was more than happy to comb through everything that was released from the DNC. John Podesta was running the Hillary Clinton campaign. Anything that the press could hear that was unfavorable for Hillary Clinton, they were more than happy to publicize those emails. They were more than happy to run hour after hour after hour after hour of news coverage about anything unfavorable. And it wasn't just John Podesta. We've got someone here that's not so much in the forefront of Democratic politics anymore, but at the time she was. She ran the DNC. Y'all remember Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Her emails were also hacked and released. And what was hers? She did her job as the head of the DNC. The DNC has internal polling. They know pretty early on which candidates are going to rise to the top. And as the DNC, it's your job to run the most efficient campaign you can. And she sent out emails that said, look, all the numbers, all the fundraising, everything favors Hillary Clinton. Yes, Bernie Sanders has lots of support. He does. Lots of excitement. But he doesn't have the fundraising. He doesn't have the infrastructure. And basically, in the end, when you do all the polling, Hillary Clinton wins. They leaked that. And that crack in the Democratic Party from the primaries, you remember how upset the Bernie bros were. How many of them stayed home? Because they published Debbie Wasserman Schultz emails of her doing her damn job. And the corporate media was more than happy to. I mean, that was the whole point. That's why I, way back in the day, started the Ride or Die Democrats. Where are my Ride or Die Democrats at? I won't even tell you what to post to identify you're a Ride or Die Democrat. You folks that are new to the crowd, you're about to see what a Ride or Die Democrat puts on their posts and how many Ride or Die Democrats we have here. Let's see you. Where are my ride or die Democrats in there? There you go. Miss Gardenia's out there. Glenn Marley with the hearts and skulls. You got it. You got it. Amen, people. My ride or die Democrats. That's when I founded the ride or die Democrats, when the Russians did this with the Republicans. And what I saw, and being a ride or die Democrat, for the folks that are new to the audience, really easy. There's no fee. To join the ride or die Democrats. It's really simple. All you have to do is in the primaries, you fight like hell for your guy. In 2016, I was a Bernie bro. I was all Bernie until he lost New York, saw he couldn't win. And then what did I do? I looked at the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and I know the Democratic Party is the only way forward. They're the only people worried about the American people, the average American person. Their policies are better. So to be a ride or die Democrat, this is what you do. You fight like hell for your beliefs in the primaries. You fight for your candidate. You 100% fight for your candidate. I've told everybody before, I was a Pete Buttigieg guy. When Pete Buttigieg lost, I was riding with Biden, baby, 100%. 100%. You know me. I have been so glad I've told you every damn good thing that Joe Biden has done. That's right. RODD, baby. Ride or die Democrat. You people get it. That's why I did it. They released these emails and they allowed the Republicans to dig in their fingernails into a little crack of division amongst us. And a lot of Bernie bros stayed home. Because they published and the corporate media was more than happy to put those emails out there for hours and hours and hours and hours. Free coverage, free press for the Republican Party, free attacks for the Republican Party. That's why I founded the Ride or Die Democrat movement, so that we never do that again. And that doesn't mean you quit fighting. It doesn't. It doesn't mean you quit fighting. Just because you walk into the voting booth on election day and you vote blue, top to bottom, and your guy or gal didn't end up on that ballot, doesn't mean you quit fighting for what you believed in. You supported that candidate for a reason. We are a big tent. We're not the Republicans. We don't goose step. We don't. Believe me, as a Democratic strategist, I have to tell you, one of the biggest complaints we get is our side is like herding cats. It is. It's like herding cats. It really is. Ask anybody that's involved in Democratic politics, and they will have used that expression. It's like herding cats, because we're true to our beliefs, man, and we keep fighting for them. And that's a good thing. We are literally the only big tent out there. Yeah. Amen. The caravan's on its way, ain't it? Oh, my goodness. But yeah. So what is the news doing today? Of course, they're publishing that information. The hacks failed. They didn't get anything out of the Democrats. You have another foreign entity that works for Russia. I have told you, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, their entire hacking infrastructure was built by Russia. Russia is decimated. They cannot do in this election what they did in the last election. So the Iranian Republican Guard Corps is trying to step up and do what the Russians did. They tried to hack the DNC. They tried to hack the Harris campaign and failed. And the Republicans were hacked, Trump was hacked, is exactly what I said the RNC hack was in 2016. It's just an attempt to keep from losing their base. A foreign entity just tried to hack the Democratic Party and the Harris campaign. And believe me, the corporate media would have been more than happy to take that information because they've done it in the past. This is 2016. These are the stories out of 2016. Just do a Google search. This is a Google search for DNC emails hacked. And boy, I tell you what, story after story after story after story, ad nauseum, in detail, explaining what was in each email and why it's the worst possible scenario and the worst possible spin they could put on them. They didn't tell people the truth, that it was Debbie Wasserman Schultz's job to get behind the strongest candidate. That's her job, to be as efficient as possible with the money and be as most effective as possible with the DNC fight. But no, man, the corporate media was more than happy. And I'm telling you, the Republicans the RNC was never hacked. The RNC was never hacked. And you know why I know the RNC was never hacked? Because there have been people in the Republican Party that have gone off the reservation, that have been hacked, that have been attacked by the Republicans, and none of that information ever came out. Nothing damning from those hacks ever came out about Liz Cheney. None of it. It was bullshit. It was a cover. It was a cover so that they didn't have to acknowledge that the Republican Party is working with a foreign entity. You have the Russians in 2016. You have the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps working with the Republicans this time, and they failed. That whole Roger Stone bullshit is just cover so that they can tell you hacked to. They tried to hack us too. No, they didn't. That's my conspiracy theory. That is my, and yes, you've got talking heads like Glenn Greenwald more than happy to absolutely amplify these foreign bad actors and the messages that they are trying to spinning. That is my conspiracy theory about this whole situation, that no, the Trump campaign was not hacked, that it is just bullshit out of Roger Stone so that they can say, well, we were hacked too, when the real target was the Harris campaign, and they failed. They failed because we've gotten so much better about our security. We were not going to have this happen again. And the corporate media, where's the corporate media on this? And why I absolutely believe that my conspiracy theory is actually the truth is this. You just saw story after story after story after story after story after story that they were more than happy to print when it was the Democrats. But they've all gotten together and said, you know, that's not right. We shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that. So we're not going to, publish any information that might be damning. We're not going to publish any of all of the quote hacked information that's being sent to us. Nothing. No, we're not going to do that. That would be bad. Are you eating this bullshit? Are you buying this bullshit? Are you really looking at the corporate media, who was more than happy to this day, are more than happy to attack? For God's sake, they're running stories that it's bad that Kamala Harris cooks. Not even kidding. Go to social media today. What have I been telling you? Fall's coming, baby. Fall is coming. Thanksgiving is coming. So what did the corporate media do? They're digging up stories of Kamala Harris cooking for her family and spinning it why that's a bad thing, because she likes to cook. Oh my God, she cooks. Oh my God. It's trying to spin it. Yeah, exactly. Hashtag Sarah Trash Man. Absolutely. It is trying to spin it as though she's weak and she's a woman, not a leader. That's my conspiracy theory, folks, and I will die on this hill. Trump was not hacked. The fact that it comes out of Roger Stone alone tells you all I need to know. Tells me everything I need to know. That was bullshit. The Iranian Republican Guard Corps tried to hack the Democratic Party. That was going to come out. That another foreign government was attempting to sway our election against the Democrats for the Republicans, and they got ahead of it. They got ahead of the story. They claimed they were hacked when it's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's all out of Roger Stone. All of it. All out of Roger Stone. It's crap. And meanwhile, you've got the Trump campaign running Willie Horton 2.0. You've got the corporate media willing to attack Kamala Harris for cooking. Oh my God. And then you've got the Trump. This is from the Trump war room. This is their official. See the gold badge there? This is their official. I told you, Steve Chung is a piece of crap. I told you. Willie Horton 2.0. They're running this racist, bigoted shit. I don't know about you folks, but I am not going back. I am not going back. I am not going back. 100% am not going back. The corporate media is more than willing to amplify this Willie Horton bullshit. But you think I'm special? I mean, you think I'm just some guy that's better than your average professional journalist. I have never claimed to be a journalist. Journalism is a skill. It is a craft. I admire deeply real journalists. That is a real investigative craft that I have deep esteem for real journalists. I am a commentator. I am a strategist. I am a partisan Democrat. I say that out loud up front. I don't bullshit anybody. I don't. You know where I'm coming from. I don't lie. I'm telling you. But you're telling me I could tell you, I could dig in, do the investigative work to tell you, hey, this whole James David Hamel stuff is going to be big. He changed his name to JD Vance. I mean, he changed it from James Donald Bowman when he was born. Talking about JD Vance, changed his name from James Donald Bowman when he was born to James David Hamel when he was adopted by his stepfather. And he kept that name until he wanted to go into politics. Why did he change his name when he wanted to go into politics? Why not just stick with Hamel? That's the name. He was a Marine under the name Hamel. Why? There's a reason why. I told you. There's a lot of shit. He grew up in the age of the internet. There's a lot out there under James David Hamel. Is the corporate media doing anything with that? No. You think I'm special? No, I am not special. I am not special. I'm just a guy who was able to sit on my computer for just a few minutes and find stuff like this that has been put out. Uh-oh. They denied that. And I told you, it's going to be a drip, 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 drip. Uh-oh. I told you. Everything JD Vance professes, this whole Christian nationalist crap, is crap. The guy was an atheist. You don't go from being an atheist just because. I'm not even kidding. They're spinning this as JD Vance was an atheist, but he married a Hindu woman and became a Christian nationalist. I'm not saying that. They're saying that. Oh my freaking God. Really? Really? No. No. I'm telling you, the corporate media could look into James David Hamel. They have done no research on his time as a Marine. Did he get busted? Did he get written up? Was he ever drunk on duty? We don't know any of that because they won't even look at it. But you've got individuals out there that knew James David Hamel. You know, I've told you there's going to be a lot more coming. He had a friend who was transgender. They corresponded a lot. That friend has already called him out on his Christian national beliefs and attacked on the transgender community. That's coming out. That is going to come out. But it won't be because of the corporate media, because they won't touch it. Well, this came out. What? And I'm the commie. There is so much out there because James David Hamel grew up in the era of the internet. And the internet never forgets. The internet never forgets. But the corporate media is not going to do it for you, folks. They're just not. You can see the bias right in front of your face. You can see when it's a Democrat, they will publish every email that they can spin negatively every possible way. They'll do it. They'll do it in a heartbeat. Trump, even stuff that Trump released on, I believe, released on their own. I believe it is my conspiracy theory that Roger Stone and Donald Trump faked this. I believe the information they released is innocuous, doesn't really hurt them. And I believe it's just opening the door for attacks to say, oh, well, our investigative material on the Democrats was hacked and this is what it is. And then the corporate media is going to run with that. They're going to run with that. Oh, well, this is too important to ignore, like we've been ignoring everything else. I'm telling you, folks, and this is what I want to wrap it up with. How many of you have seen this? That's inflation. Normal inflation should be between 2 and 3.5%. Should be between 2 and 3.5%. That's our inflation. You know what that means? That means interest rates are going to start coming down. How many of you have seen this story out of the corporate media? How many of you have seen an analysis of this chart? How many of you seen an analysis of the fact that if you look at inflation, Donald Trump screwed the pooch from COVID? You know, I want to give the Trump administration a pass on their economic failures during COVID because it was worldwide. Everything was shut down worldwide. But what I will not give them a pass for is the stuff they did. The PPE problems. There was a playbook in place. The Obama administration took a look at Ebola and said, you know what? We can't get caught flat-footed by a worldwide pandemic. We just can't. And they developed a playbook to make sure that we didn't have the exact PPE problems that we did. For folks that don't know what PPE is, that's masks, gloves, gowns. They were in incredible short supply. My beautiful wife, Mrs. Texas Paul, made us masks. She got on the sewing machine and she made us masks. Now, the Republicans were all anti-mask. Why? Because Trump had failed. Trump failed to get them masks. It was a free-for-all. It was a bidding war. You had hospitals paying 4,000% more for their PPE because everybody in the world was fighting to get masks, and that was an utter failure of the Trump campaign. There was actually plans in the Obama pandemic playbook to actually have government manufacturing of masks and latex gloves. What to do if this is going to be an extended period, how to make sure everybody got them, and the Trump campaign did nothing. So what happened? The right wing, Fox News, Newsmax, everybody, masks are bad. Masks are bad. Oh no, voting base. Your Lord and Savior cult leader Trump didn't fail you and leave you without protection. No, masks are bad. Masks are bad. Vaccines. Hey, Operation Warp Speed. Great. Great. We had existing technology that they were able to modify relatively quickly to come up with a vaccine. That's not the end of it, because vaccines don't work until they're in arms. And the Trump campaign did nothing to prepare for the existence of a vaccine. When the vaccine was developed, we had no vials to put them in. We did not have the needles to give injections with, because the Trump campaign did not do the work. Again, this goes back to Keynesian economics. The government has a role to play. When things shut down, when extreme circumstances happen, war, pandemic, the government has a job to do. The Trump campaign did none of it. So instead of going to their base and explaining to their base why they failed to set up the distribution systems and the distribution networks, they failed to secure the bottles, they failed to secure the needles, they failed to secure everything they needed for their base to get this new vaccine that they desperately need. They said vaccines were bad. And they boosted the insane anti-vaxxer rhetoric. And they distracted with ivermectin and colloidal silver. Why? To protect Trump. So now we have a Republican Party. We have a Republican Party that believes masks are bad. Even though any surgeon will explain to you why they wear masks to protect their patient, to prevent their viruses and germs from going into exposed wounds as they do surgery. And they wear plastic masks as splash guards to prevent blood transfusion, all of that. Anybody that actually does it for a living can explain to you why they're good. Republicans believe masks are bad to protect cult leader Trump from his failure. Injections are bad. Yeah, inject bleach. All of the nonsense, all of the distractions, all of this anti-vaxxer. Folks, there's a chart out that will break your heart. It'll just break your heart. The number of people who used to believe, our parents saw polio. Ask the folks in this audience. There are folks in this audience that are old enough to remember polio. We used to have a strong belief in vaccination. That's plummeted. It's like only 65% of the country now believes that vaccinations should be done. That's down from like 90%. So carry that to this graph. Carry that over to this graph. Inflation. Look at the timing. Yeah, inflation plummets. You know, they like to talk about that cheap gas that cannot exist outside of a pandemic. The cognitive dissonance is insane with these people. Yeah, inflation plummeted during COVID because everything was shut down. You couldn't buy anything. But they did nothing, just like with the masks, just like with the vaccines. They did nothing to prepare. Nobody thought in the Trump campaign, the Trump administration, to say, I wonder what's going to happen when we start to open back up. I wonder what's going to happen with the economy. Well, we know what did happen with the economy. You saw car lots with no cars in them. My son had a truck that he bought used before COVID. Businesses could not get, he is in heavy industry. He needs heavy duty vehicles and stuff. He does. He bought a newer truck used right before COVID. After everything started to open back up, you couldn't get vehicles because the Trump campaign had done nothing to prepare. Factories were shut down. Demand was sky high. He sold that used truck for far more than what he paid for it almost 2 years later because the demand was insane, because no one in the Trump administration bothered to say, I wonder what's going to happen to the economy when everything opens back up. What happened is that hump right in the middle. Supply shock, exactly. Hal Sparks talks about this eloquently. Supply shock. Right when Joe Biden took office and did the work, he got the vials, he got the needles. You remember the lines of everybody lined up to get vaccinated. Everybody opened up. The Biden administration did the work to get the vaccines out. He did the work. The economy opened up and there was no preparation. They couldn't get shipping containers because the shipping containers were all filled with PPE out of China and sent to markets that desperately needed them, but they didn't have the economic activity to create the backflow of containers. Joe Biden was literally scrambling to help subsidize empty ships going and collecting frickin' shipping containers. Shipping went from $2,500 per full container per unit to over $10,000, $16,000 per full unit because they couldn't get shipping containers. Joe Biden fixed that because the Trump campaign did nothing to prepare for the opening. And they sit there and complain and complain and complain. Oh, your eggs got expensive. Yeah, because we had bird flu, you dumbass. And our agriculture, the federal government does things for a living. The government isn't bad. They do jobs. They fix problems. Problems that you can't fix for yourself. And that's why Joe Biden has been one of the best presidents we have ever had. Is because he just did not shy away from these problems. He never said, we don't have a problem. Let's ignore it. Let's pretend it's not true. Masks are bad. Shipping is bad. Shipping is bad. We shouldn't be doing shipping because he was failing. No, he said, we've got a problem, folks. We're going to fix it. We're going to do what it takes to fix it. We're going to lift regulations. We're going to subsidize what we have to subsidize. We're going to do everything we have to do to fix this problem because this problem is real. That's the difference between Democrats and Republicans, folks. That's the difference. And that's why I am 100% Harris Walls, and Donald Trump and the Republicans can never hold power again. They have to go. That's why when somebody brings both sidism to my social media, it's an instant block. Republicans can't govern. Exactly. Republicans cannot govern because that's work. That's work. Republicans can talk. They can. They've got all the energy in the world for fake hacks and all this bullshit. But just the everyday sausage of doing the job. That's Democrats for you, man. That's Democrats. So, what I want to leave you with is this. Vote. Up and down the ticket. Every time we have a presidential election, off-year elections are worse. Off-year elections are even worse. Democrats don't vote. We don't. We believe we're more than willing to sit around and talk. But we have a real turnout problem. This year's different. Missouri just did an amazing job. They got reproductive rights on the ballot. Arizona just did an amazing job. They got reproductive rights on the ballot. Folks, I got a guy here in Texas named Colin Allred who is kicking the shit out of Cruz. Cruz has had a deluge of money poured on him from billionaires, trying to keep this culture here in Texas. And Colin Allred, the same guy that beat Pete Sessions, they said Pete Sessions was unbeatable. Colin Allred said, watch me. The corporate media is giving Colin Allred zero, none, no press whatsoever at all. You wouldn't know the man existed if folks like me weren't talking about it. So I need you folks, we have to do it without him. We have to put this shit on our shoulders, and we have to do it without him. Thank you for all the donations. Thank you for allowing me to do this full time. But you need to be out there registering. You need to register your people. You need to tell your kids, your grandkids, everybody's voting. It's all hands on deck. Everybody is voting this time. This is the real deal. They're shooting their shot. The billionaires are shooting their shot. They're going to gut our democracy. They're going to create they think they can control Donald Trump. They can't. They're shooting their shot. The 2025 project, they wrote it down for you to read. Donald Trump took that and made it his campaign. Agenda 47 is Project 2025 because Donald Trump is too lazy to even come up with his own platform. He simply plagiarized Project 2025 and called it Agenda 47. Folks, they're going to gut your government. They're going to take your democracy away. It's all written down. They're going to bust your unions. It's all written down. You must vote. And to vote, you must be registered. And I know there's a lot of you that are going to hear that are like, I'm good. I'm registered. I like me. I am active. I vote. I know my registration is good. No, you do not. No, you do not. The Republicans are cheating on an unprecedented scale. Ohio, Texas, Florida are not the only places they're doing this, people. They're literally taking Democrats. Ken Paxton said it out loud. Evil Popeye said it out loud. He's targeting Democrats. He's suspending people's voter registrations and making you go prove who you are. There you go, my friend. I love Kirby vacuums, by the way. If you ever get a chance to get like a refurbished Kirby, outstanding vacuums. I think I would I would wager to say some of the best vacuums ever made. Can't afford one, don't have one, but they're outstanding. I've used one before. I've had family members that have had one. Bet you can find them on the internet somewhere, Pam. They are amazing. Ask these people. Kirby's, yeah, they do. They suck. They suck a lot. You'll never hear that about other vacuums. I had a Kirby for 25 years. They are amazing. I can't afford one. They are not cheap, folks. A new Kirby vacuum costs more than my first 2 cars did combined. They are not cheap. They are very heavy. Yes, they are. They're very heavy because they're built like tanks. How the hell did I end up talking about Kirby vacuums? Good God. Check your registration. Check your registration. We're like 83 days out from the election. Folks, most states, you have to have all of that in place 30 days before the election, which means you don't have 83 days. Now, do it now. Why do you want to do it now? And do it again. Do it again in about 6 weeks. Check your registration again. Why? Because you want your work off the table so that you can be focusing. Make sure your kids, my grandkids are registered. My grandkids are voting, and they're voting Harris. Harris Walls, baby. 100%. Do the same. Get your people out. All hands on deck. I love you, folks. This is Old Texas Paul out. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.